Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to another Muslimi Meets. I'm Ashley Pearson Khan with my co-hosts, brother Matt Moon and Idil, our lovely sister. And we're sitting down today to talk to Belal from the Healthy Muslims. I'm so glad you're sitting down with us today. This is something I think we can all talk about because health is important. It's an important part of our iman. So can you tell us a little bit about your company and what you guys do?
So, Jazakallah khair for having me, by the way. Our biggest goal is to help provide an easier path to reach to becoming healthier for an average Muslim. Oftentimes one of the biggest things that we see throughout society is you got to go on a very Western diet, or you have to eliminate carbohydrates, which basically eliminates almost every Muslim country in the world. You have to basically give up your culture across the board. You have to basically live inside a gym. You have to do all these extreme workouts. So for us, myself, my wife, who's a registered dietitian, Nazima, we want to provide the community with something that's doable and enjoyable, right? Because if you're not going to enjoy it, you're not going to do it, right? So for us, it's trying to educate that, hey, you don't have to live in a gym, right? Instead of doing 6 workouts in a week, you can actually get away with 3 45-minute workouts, which is much easier because 168 hours in a week, only 3 45 minutes, that's less than 3 hours. That's a lot more doable than saying, hey, you got 6 workout days that you got to do in a week, right? And then from there, spend time with the family, be active. So when you're spending time with the family, make it more active, right? And then same thing with the nutrition side. You don't have to give up your cultural foods to be healthy, right? Does that mean you can have a samosa every day? No. But does that mean you have to eliminate a period? No, not
moderation,
at all. Right? Exactly, right? And you can still get healthy. And for the most part, across the board, what I see is most people they want more energy, they want to be healthier, they want to get rid of their gut, right? And they just, want to feel a little younger. That's not hard to obtain. It does take a little bit of work, but consistency and understanding that you don't have to be extreme, that makes a huge difference. So for us, we have clients all over the world, and for us, it's regardless of what cultural background they have, because alhamdulillah, that's one of the blessings and we're seeing that right now at RS, being Muslim doesn't mean you're one culture, right? It's very multicultural, which is amazing. Right, so we're able to work with various cultures and try to find a way for them to still be able to stay within their culture without having to kind of turn it upside down.
That's right.
Right? That makes sense?
Yeah, so you're normalizing being healthy for the Muslims. I think,
Exactly.
At the end of the day, health is wealth, right?
Exactly.
What do we have if we don't have our health together?
Nothing.
So, you making that accessible to people, and doesn't matter your age, doesn't matter your culture, you're making it a more universal thing, and you're bringing it back to the normalcy that being Muslim means that we should be healthy. We should be the best version of ourselves. And I feel like, you being healthy is actually a direct correlation with your deen even. You could pray better. You can, function better.
Yeah.
And so, what is something that has surprised you when it comes to your clients that maybe you weren't expecting?
So,
is it like the older folks are
Since
interested?
you said the iman part, so I had a client of mine, and he had mobility issues.
Okay.
He was probably around 50 something. He went through some injuries, and I knew he had those injuries. And we were able to work through it. We were able to kind of get him through, getting him stronger, getting him more mobile. Everything was online. We were able to walk him through everything. And he was able to follow the workouts, follow the nutrition. He lost about probably around 15, 20 pounds within a very, a healthy time period. And he was able to start doing a lot better. We thought that was a huge upset. That was the huge win.
Yeah.
And we were like, whoa, this is amazing. And his family saw how much happier he was. And then me and him were having a one-on-one call. And he's like, Belal, I've never said this to anybody, but I haven't done sajda in probably 2-3 years. And he's like, it's something I never wanted to admit. He's like, I had the ability, but I was too afraid that I wouldn't be able to get back up. Right? He's like, I just didn't have the strength. And I didn't put 2 and 2 together because I knew he was having a hard time getting up. But I'm like, I didn't ask about salah, right? And when I heard that, I'm like, this is why. And then we both looked at each other. We're like, this is why.
That's it.
I'm like, I don't care about anything else. This is why we're doing it.
Yeah.
And then the amount of people, and then when we mentioned that to our members, the amount of members that in our program that started saying across the board, like, yeah, we noticed a difference too. We can sit on the floor longer in tashahhud position. We can go in ruku a lot easier. We can pray a lot easier. When we're reading Quran, we can sit on the floor and not have our lower back. And then we noticed that same thing on Ramadan. So I'm like, yes, weight loss is great. We need that. It's really important for your health. But I'm like, if you're talking about iman, I'm like, that's why we do this.
So talk about fitness. Actually, one of the things that that always comes to the back of my mind when we talk about fitness is, first of all, how do you determine if you're fit or not? You know what I'm saying? I think because the thing is, nowadays with Instagram, Facebook, everything else, you're seeing all these things, and you're seeing bodybuilders, and body models in a sense, right? And I think a lot of people say, oh, I'll never get to that position, right? So
Yeah.
therefore they just kind of give up on it in the first place. So is there some sort of metrics to say like, how am I fit?
So there's a lot of different things people work discuss. For example, they'll bring up like BMI, they'll bring up body fat, they'll bring up weight, etc. Right? BMI is a little tough one to be able to actually follow.
Yeah.
Right? Across the board, generally speaking, it's not the best approach to take.
Yeah.
However, if you look at bodybuilders on social media, the vast majority of them, they have a lot of muscle, but they're not necessarily healthy.
Yeah.
Right? If you get them to run, they're going to be out of breath. Their cardiovascular is almost impossible. Visually, they look the part, but they can't be the part.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
Right? So the biggest thing is, are you able to run for 15, 20 minutes without being out of breath? Right? Is your body fat at a lower percentage where, you should still be able to see some muscle? You don't need to be ripped. By no means does that mean that you need to like be completely shredded. Because even those who do the photo shoot, they have to drain themselves. Like when we think about movies and we see like, for example, The Rock, when we see him in those photo shoots, he has to drain every inch of like water and salt to the point where the skin is like basically
Paper thin,
touching, right? And so social media kind of brings this illusion that isn't real, right? So for us, it's trying to educate people to understand that, listen, how is your energy level? Is it hard to walk? Are you able to lift things throughout the day? And is your everyday life easier, right? That you're able to conduct, for example, are you able to pick up your kid without struggling, right? Are you able to go about your day? Are you feeling sluggish throughout the day at any point, right? Has your stomach gone down, right? Because that is a big factor as well, right? Having a big stomach isn't ideal because the visceral fat isn't great for the body and the organs, etc. Right? So we do want to lower our body fat percentage, right? But it doesn't mean that we need to be like super thin. It doesn't mean that we need to be single-digit body fat percentage or anything along those lines. The biggest thing is, overall, how is your energy level? Making sure that your weight to height ratio is pretty decent as well. That plays a factor. And then looking at your life as a whole.
So then it's quite easy, actually. It's not really difficult.
No.
Really, if you think about
social
it,
media makes it a lot tougher. It makes it look a lot harder. Because even I go on sometimes and I'm like, I can't do that. Am I healthy? I'm like, I work out all the time. I'm like, I can't do that. How are people gonna who work 9 to 5 and they just stay? I just walk through the gym. It's intimidating, right? So a lot of times stuff like that becomes almost counterproductive, right? Because it is intimidating. Person with their shirt off, they're completely ripped. They have their kettlebell all over the place. I'm like, I can't do that.
It's a movie. It's a walking movie. I think it's interesting that you guys are bringing comfort, to something that's usually super uncomfortable. Like people don't think health and they think that it's such a big thing to accomplish and there's so many hurdles and obstacles. So they think that it's impossible and it's unreachable. Yeah. But you guys are making it comfortable, which I think is interesting. Because a lot of people don't associate comfort with, a healthy plan or a meal plan because it takes discipline. Yeah. But the fact that you guys are doing it in the homes and that you're making it comfortable for all age groups, I think that's great too. It's very inclusive.
To give an example for that is parents often ask, okay, how do I get my children healthier? Yeah. Right? What do I do? So they're like 13, 14, playing a lot more video games, on social media a lot more. They're maybe not playing. And my answer across the board is, A, what are you doing? Yeah. Right? You can't make health and fitness be miserable in front of them because they're going to do what you do. It's just like Salah. You can't tell your kid to go pray and then be like, I'm going to go watch TV.
Yeah, you got to do the action.
They have to see you do it, right? Yeah. But then they also can't hear you complain. Yeah. Right? So that's important as well. Yeah. But then the second thing is you have to make it fun for them. At that age, there's nothing wrong with them working out. But if they don't want to, that's okay. Ask them, hey, do you want to play a sport? How about we go play together? Do something active with them and get them enjoying it. And then, because the thing is, with us, even myself, I grew up, I hated anything health related. Yeah. And it wasn't until later on in my teens where I'm like, no, why? That doesn't make any sense. Yeah. Right? But early on, I'm like, I don't want to work out. I don't want to eat healthy. Why do I want to eat a salad when I can have French fries and everything else, right?
Yeah, of course.
But with my kids now, we have 3 kids, and with our kids, they want to have the salad because we made it enjoyable. We get them involved in the nutrition, right? We get them involved in being able to choose what vegetables and fruits they want to bring home, right? And then be able to choose. And then we allow them to have their treats. Yeah. Right?
So there's a balance.
Exactly, right?
Well,
and then
speaking of French fries, I want to talk about this healthy Ramadan guidebook. This one here that you and your wife, I think, have worked on, right? Yeah. So in Ramadan, oh, you even have exercise in here.
Ramadan is
this
like
is
Samosa
crazy. Have you guys seen this?
No.
He literally has food in there and exercise in the back.
I'm already getting hungry.
Not ugly looking food either.
Like
oh
there's
man,
ice
overnight
cream
oats.
and there's
That's like my go-to during
yogurt
Ramadan
and stuff like that. Yeah. Let's talk about being healthy in Ramadan because I think that's really actually essential, right? So one of the things that it's a challenge for me specifically, right, is that I like to go to the gym regularly. In Ramadan, I have a real struggle. First of all, I'm diabetic, so I like that energy level is always problematic for me. How does one, just like the principles, like, you know what I'm saying? How does one have a healthy Ramadan?
So, the book on
And mind you, sorry, before I interrupt you, it's really important. Okay, sorry. It's really important to actually have a healthy Ramadan because you need your health in Ramadan to actually worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala better. This is actually a really essential thing. I think a lot of people don't understand the fact that if you eat unhealthy in Ramadan, you are not likely to actually stand up in prayer. You're not likely to actually finish your Quranic recitation. You're not likely to actually enjoy Ramadan as a whole in the first place, right?
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
Ramadan is a great time to start healthy habits
It is.
and keep them going.
Yeah, it is. And the one thing we always say is that you want to ideally start at least a few weeks beforehand, like before Ramadan kicks in.
Yeah,
Start
preparation.
understanding and preparing, just like we do with everything else in Ramadan, right? Unfortunately, the first thing that we do is all right, what should we do for food?
Yeah.
Right? And then we're like, oh wait, Ibadah, how much, what do I want to do? What do I want to accomplish? And we'll have our goals that we'll set, right? And in fitness and nutrition, usually it's like on the day of, then we'll be like, oh wait, when can I work out?
Yeah.
Right? Or what should I do now?
Yeah.
Right? So it's like having that preparation beforehand, right? You mentioned diabetes. So we have an entire section. So my wife, she's a registered dietitian. She wrote an entire section on helping with diabetes as well, right? It's in the book as well.
Also, it's because almost 80% of our community is diabetic, right?
And we're predispositioned to a lot of the people, a lot of from
I'm lying. It's not 80%, but it's close to. It's a lot more than 50%. Let's just say that. Yeah.
Depending
is,
on if you're, especially if you're certain countries, you're predispositioned to high cholesterol, blood sugar level, heart issues, etc.
That's
right. You're almost predispositioned to it.
Yeah, that's right.
And then our foods don't
So
necessarily
East
help
Africans, Southeast Asians, Ashley got away from it, so she can do better. But
basically.
Basically, the 3 out of the 4 of us here are predisposed to some
So
sort
we're
of
the
disease.
majority.
Exactly.
What's one thing that you want people to remember about your brand, legacy-wise?
Honestly, for us is finding a way to make it easy for you and making it into a lifestyle, right? It should be fun.
Yeah.
Should enjoy it. We have like members who work out at home who absolutely hate the gym.
Yeah.
And there's someone who's probably a gym rat. Like, I love the gym. I could be tell me to work out, I can work out all day, no problem. But I understand that everyone's different.
Exactly.
Right? So for me, I'm like, that's okay.
Yeah.
Right? And sometimes people have a hard time understanding that. But I'm like, no, that's perfectly fine. And you have those who are like me that sign up, they're like, I want to be in the gym. Awesome. I don't want to work out at home. Perfect. And we build it based on that. Right? Same thing with nutrition. There's some people who have a hard time finding veggies that they enjoy.
Yeah.
So we make sure we work with them to find, for example, if you're not a fan of, say, broccoli, we're not going to give you broccoli.
Yeah.
There's a million vegetables to choose
so
from.
many options, yeah.
Exactly. You could choose one that's not a broccoli that you can eat and you can still enjoy yourself, right? So for us, it's just making it easier for it to become a lifestyle, right? And that overall makes the biggest difference. And, like you were saying about Ramadan, the one analogy I always use for Ramadan is think of a bow and arrow. If you're an archer, what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to pull back. The further you pull back, the further it's going to go.
Exactly.
That's what Ramadan is. It's a reset. It's a focus. And Islamic, that's what it is. You zone in. You try to limit. Obviously, it becomes a communal thing, which is great. But the focus is yourself to try to really build. So same thing. So the workouts won't be insane, right? The goal is to restructure, build a foundation, and then after Ramadan, that's when you should be taking off. And same thing with nutrition. Reset, feel better, feel good, and then when Ramadan's done, that should be able to continue on. And you feel better about yourself.
Right.
Exactly. You're already fasting 15 hours.
Yeah,
You only have 6 hours left
That's
to
not
fight.
that bad.
That's easy. That should be easy now, right?
No, I agree with that.
Well, everybody could definitely benefit from these services and this knowledge. So I really appreciate you sharing that with us.
Jazakallah for having me.
Where can people find your services? Maybe get the book and maybe even follow you on socials.
Oh, just like the book at
Show them the book.
thehealthymuslims.com. You can follow me on like socials on at Stronger with Belal. I spell Belal B-E, not B-I. I spell it the right way. For all the Belals out there.
Hold it up higher.
Stronger with Belal.
Can you hold it up higher so we can see
Stronger
it?
with Belal. And then my wife, Nutrition by Naz.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Perfect.
So Jazakallah khair for having me. This is amazing.
Thank you for
very nice to
Inshallah,
meet you.
people would see it and really enjoy it and appreciate it.
Inshallah, we'll all live healthier lifestyles.
Inshallah.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Okay.
Thank you so much for watching another Muslimi Meets, and thank you to Belal for joining us. Stay tuned for more podcasts coming your way. Assalamu alaikum.